Good evening, this is Primetime with Independent Thinker, streaming from the great studio Love 97. Tonight, I have in studio a former guest who's on the show, a former Marine, a lawyer, a former minister, and a present senator. He's in the chair with me tonight. We're going to have a good conversation in reference to some of the issues that affect this country, in reference to foreign affairs, internationally, locally, and some of the decisions that were made when he sat in one of those cabinet chairs in the cabinet office. Some decisions that he made. Let us view and his information in reference to those decisions. But today, in the Tribune, I must begin the show by stating how the bus drivers are carrying the government a task in reference to the unified busing system. And I say I have to make some mention, because if my mind served me correctly, I thought the system, I thought the system had been completed, because it had started under the former Minister of Transport, the Honorable Frankie Campbell. So tonight we're going to have some conversations, some dialogue in reference to some of the problems we face and some of the presidents that's in the newspaper, and get his view, his personal view, his party views. And I see they issued some statement on crime, 10-point plan on crime. So we'll dabble in some of those topics that concerns you. And if you want to be a part of the conversation, 326-8255. That's 326-8255 and 322-3633. 322-3633. My guest tonight is Mr. Honorable Senator Darren Henfield. He's presently still a senator, also an attorney at law, also a Marine, also a former commander from the Defense Force. And he's a Jay. He's no stranger to this show. I had him here before. We had some of the greatest conversation, and he ended up in the book with the 10 most knowledgeable guests that I ever had. He's one of those in that 10 category, and I offer to get him back, and he accepted, and he's in the chair. And we're gonna have a good conversation tonight. Good evening, Mr. Darren Henfield.
Good evening, Brother Johnson. I'm honored to be here with you again tonight. I'm also very honored to be listed in that book. I got the top 10.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was in that book, but
yeah, man, you asked the question, I must tell you that. And I told you that night, I don't know if you remember, and I told you it was a great show, because some persons, when you bring them on, they feel, they maybe didn't prepare it or rehearse, but you was answering, you like Wayne Monroe, you like Alfred Sayers. So persons who, when you ask them questions, they ready. They can answer you. You might accept, you might like, you might agree, but they ready to answer you whatever you ask. Because they're honest, they trying to be, truthful to themselves as to the audience, but they ready to answer the question. And you was one of those persons in the book.
I'll do my best
Yes,
to help you opinion tonight.
And we'll be in the show talking about the daily, and one of the dailies, the Tribune today. Mm-hmm. They have where the bus drivers carrying the government a task. And if my mind in reference to the unified bus system, if my mind serves me correctly, under the administration that you were a cabinet minister, you were part of, I remember that I chose Awaki. I remember the road traffic department building was shut down from the public, and I see plenty of buses to be there. And it was rumored that a unified bus system is in progress. And if my mind serves me correctly, the Inter-American Bank and the Italian government, through the Inter-American Bank had granted some $500,000, if my mind serves me correctly. And I think the government had complemented that with $200,000, with some $700,000. Whatever happened to that project? It was like a pilot project for the busing system. And based on my understanding, the money was spent under your administration. But then when all of a sudden it just died off, the bus stop moved from Awaki, and then the road traffic building going back to normal as a car, the licensed car there. Yeah. So what really happened? Because the bus drivers are making plenty noise today.
I remember vaguely, a lot of which you speak about a unified busing system. I also remember about the grant vaguely. You remember these things, you know, and the peripheries. But several governments had looked at unifying a busing service, particularly here for New Providence, right? A unified busing system, we believe, would eliminate the need for everyone to have all these cars on the road, all
Right.
the congestion that we find.
Right. Once you put a proper system in the way, so you will try to get the bus.
My brother Ruben Raming, who's also a colleague senator.
That's your brother, please?
No, I call him my brother, my younger brother, because he worked with me in foreign affairs. He served as ambassador for CARICOM
Okay.
at the time I sat. And he's an expert in the area, and we discuss it from time to time. And you know, there are so many positive sides of it. When we look at what is going on the streets, the indiscipline, we believe, by the bus drivers is driven by the need to be competitive.
Right.
They are jockeying for $1, so
Right.
so to speak. If bus drivers, I think this is where you're going, right? If bus drivers know, well, my salary is set, the owners know my terms of payment are set, and then it's not a rat race anymore.
Right.
Where people drive recklessly through traffic. Sometimes we've seen in this country, in Nassau, we've seen tragic events
Right.
where people are hurt, some fatally. And so I don't recall exactly what happened to that, or where it is, you know, but it's something we need to look at very seriously.
Yeah, because I mean, I thought it was a great idea, and others thought too. Because if the Inter-American Bank had released the $500,000, because the government, I think, based on my research, I find that $200,000 was from the government, $500,000 was from the
Yeah,
Italian government,
I remember.
and it was a grant.
Yeah.
A grant meaning that they don't have to pay back, right?
Yeah, that's a grant.
And I see all those fairly new buses were parked there, and then all of a sudden,
I'm sure.
what happened?
Sure, the money didn't go into research and development. I don't know where.
Oh, I don't know. I
some
don't
of
know
that's
what
not
happened.
answered that
But
question.
then the bus drivers today
Yeah.
are carrying the government tax, and they're not one of them maybe you remember that $700,000 was spent to complete the project, and the projects, and they robbing the government like it's the government fault that they didn't fix it. But if you look at the newspaper today, the Tribune,
But you know they say governments are continuous.
Yeah.
Right?
they can't continue to spend all $700,000.
Yeah, I don't know how the money was split.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone can account for it somewhere.
Right. So I feel I just want to bring that because I saw it inside the dailies. It was headline the dailies today.
I think it's
And
I think it's a very serious matter. The issue with busing in New Providence in particular, right? So you have some homes. I have one son who's still at home, so he has a car. My wife has a car. I have a car. So it's 3 cars coming out of one house, right? How many other houses are in New Providence like that? But if you have a consistent, regular busing service with discipline, and you can go on it and feel secure and safe as you travel along the way. All the bus drivers are not those who are there acting reckless. We have people who are, I know some of them, who are professionals in what they do, and they do their best to avoid this thing that people put on all the bus drivers, right? And we need them. We need them. Kids take them to school. People take them to work. But one thing I noticed recently, and I commented to a bus driver about this, is that I don't know that we have buses for disabled people, right?
I don't think we reached that level with the chip.
So imagine this, right? That you could come out of your corner, get on a bus at a time known to you. This bus will leave here at 8:30, and you'll be downtown by 9 on your job, and you could do that with regularity every day. There's no need for you to drive.
Right.
So you begin to save money on your fuel.
Save mileage on
You save mileage on your vehicle, and you cut down congestion on,
right.
on,
And
on,
even
the,
it
on the
helps
streets.
with the climate.
So it's something we have to have a
But
serious
and what you're
discussion
saying
about.
is so timely because years ago I've been on radio for 14 years, and years ago I talked about this transport system, but I really thought that if politicians want to fix it, they can fix it. And when you tie the taxi drivers, jitney drivers, all them in one, I think the system need a strong arm person to deal with it. Because you're gonna hurt some people if you wanna fix it. Because the people, plenty persons today fear change and they fight against change. So it wouldn't be an easy task to fix it properly, especially with the taxi system. You have persons who they are doctors, they are lawyers, they are whatever profession, and because they're died on that plate, they still have it.
Yeah.
And politicians, maybe one or two of them have plates. One or two senators might have plates when they don't drive taxi. And I always was minded that if you just like how you have one man, one vote, one plate, one man, one plate, one driver, one plate, meaning that if you're a driver, you have a plate. You shouldn't be able to rent a plate and receive monies from a person who hustling and driving. You don't drive taxi, so why would you want a plate? Why would you want to make your daddy had the plate? Okay, your mommy had the plate. Okay, your family member had the plate and hand it down to you. Give them to all the names who've been through Bahama House, who have their taxi license, and one man, one plate. You count 3 and 4 plate. You have a plate and you ain't driving. And I guarantee you could fix that problem. You control and maybe even create a very unified system if you were to go down that road.
It is a historical problem that has never really been addressed in totality in the way that it ought to be. But these plates are seen as businesses for families, right? So you got a plate originally, you pass, and it's left in your family to support your wife if she's a widow now.
Well,
right? And so it's rented out. I'm not saying this is right, but
no,
this is what happens.
Yeah.
It's rented out to someone who has done his Bahama House. He has his public service driver's license, and he wants to make a living. And I met a veteran from the defense force who was doing it. Someone who helped train me, helped raise me up as a young man, Neville Moss at the time. I'm sure we call him Trooper. I'm sure he doesn't mind me calling his name. He's like a mentor, right? And he told me about this system and how I knew about it, but how it impacted him personally. And
that's why I said at the beginning
you have to come up
it
with
will
so
hurt
much,
some persons.
you have to come up with so much a week.
Right.
Right?
And I don't think it's fair.
500, 400 a week.
Yeah,
you have to come.
So,
you have to buy your vehicle, get it on the road, and then all you have from this person is a plate, and then you pay them for the usage of this plate.
And not only that, by them doing that, they even can benefit the concession will come to the plate.
No.
Because the plate ain't there in the owner name. The vehicle isn't in the owner name.
Yeah.
Because based on my understanding, by you having a taxi plate, you entitled to some concessions and incentives to bring a new vehicle.
You can bring in a new vehicle once every so often, without taxes.
All right then. So that's why I think which is a great idea to me. But I think we need to break the cycle.
Yeah.
We need to break the cycle.
I think this government issued some plates the other day.
Yeah, I see that.
Since coming to office, I've heard complaints by the taxi drivers union people about how many plates are in the system.
Too much plates?
That the system is now glutted.
Boy, but there are plenty tours on Bay Street.
Yeah.
Plenty tours coming into the cruise ship, 5 cruise ships a day.
There's still complaints, right? So I think we need to have all of the stakeholders involved, and everybody needs to appreciate that how your business goes, especially if it's involved in tourism or moving around the local population, so goes the country.
Right.
And I think somehow we need to convince people to come away from this dog-eat-dog kind of approach, fit us in the jungle, and look at how we develop a better system. The owners of these transportation, that would take the unions, that would take the government, all the stakeholders, right? And these things are not going to be solved overnight. But I really believe that you can do something with the busing system.
Yeah,
I really believe that.
If you begin, and the same thing with the jitney. Some places have like 7 or 8 plates.
Yeah.
Right.
Franchises.
Listen, if they would create a system where the government even buy back the buses or places, just so that You don't think that, oh man, you stuck with this bus and you know, each of the individual plate, you find out, you get a report on each one, because somebody say, oh, I have mortgage on the bus, right? But then you bring it, you know, you bring in whatever information is required and solve the problem. They have mortgage, pay off the mortgage, resell the bus, offer it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Find a way to just deal with it.
Yeah.
If you fix it once and for all, you don't have to worry about it no more.
Yeah.
You know, one driver, one plate. When it comes to taxi, jeepney, because you have supposed to have 7, 8, 9 plates, you know, and if you creating employment, you create, not only you creating ownership, you creating business. Because if I say no, that hey, this is my plate. I can't get 2 plates, I can't get 3 plates, but this one plate I got is my jeepney, and fixing the problem is where the government make a decision that when you die or you're incapacitated, cannot drive, then your plate go back on the list.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, persons who have to hustle, they have to hustle where they run up and down, speeding, they block traffic, man. That's so mean. They just block traffic to don't prevent the bus from coming around, the next bus behind them, and they inconvenient people who ain't gonna do jeepney.
You know,
And they don't care.
Plates, taxi plates, like straw vendors and fishermen and other indigenous people who start businesses. You know, you can't forget where we come from. We come from a place that we colonized or enslaved people.
Right. Fishing
And
village.
these things were able to empower our people.
Right.
To
But
be
we
a part of sort of a shareholder society.
yeah, but I mean,
Where I could say I run my own business. I don't report to anyone, right?
Right.
I get up in the mornings, I clean up my taxi, I dress myself and I look nice, and I go out and I serve my customers as a Bahamian businessman or woman, right? So there are a lot of historical attachments that go along with some of these systems that you have to be cognizant of when you talk about how we approach these things, right? And so we have to have buy-in.
so you think
We have to have the collective of the village.
I see
Right.
the FM and the PLP
Yeah.
at numerous times attempted to fix it. And when they start to begin, and all of a sudden they just back off.
Yeah.
So I mean, it appears to me over the years that it's hard for them to fix because so much places who maybe benefited when their particular parties in power, and to go back to them. So it appears that in order to fix the process system, you'll have to hold the DNA party
You
in.
know, you gotta remember. The box is too small to allow politics to dominate every aspect of our lives, right?
Right.
Some things are too much national importance, right? Healthcare, education, immigration, how we treat with crime, how we treat with these systems of transportation. They're too important. We need to come together and follow the National Development Plan to the greatest extent that we can. Even when you'll find when we put out our manifesto, whatever we're going to call it, you'll find it to be, we've tried to put it in step with the National Development Plan, synchronize it with the plan as much as possible, because the plan is what we all agreed across the board, across the political divide. We agreed that this is how we're going to address education. This is how we're going to address healthcare.
And the freelance people is coming up with that plan?
Yeah, that's our manifesto will be as much as practicably possible in step, in synchronization with the National Development Plan in important areas.
So the Bahamian people will be able to get a plan where 5-year plan involved 10 years, 20 years,
Yeah,
50 years.
we believe that all political parties should seek, who agreed, we all agreed, we sat in the room, however they did it, and agreed that these are the priorities for the National Development Department, right? So we believe that all political parties, for as much as they can, should try and follow the plan, because these are things that we've agreed with on.
You said it's a national plan or a
The
manifesto?
National Development Plan, what we're trying to do with our manifesto is have it as much as possible,
Type national plan.
right, tied into the National Development
But
Plan.
so this plan is being prepared now.
Yeah,
But this isn't a plan that you all had before the last
No.
election.
We're working assiduously every day. We're working on our
Because
finalizing our
because
manifesto.
I must tell you, which I think if you're completed in time, It's a great idea.
Mhm.
I must tell you that.
It will be completed time.
Right. It's a great idea. Why? Because the 4 years y'all ran the country, it appeared that y'all didn't have a plan.
Yeah,
The
we-
4 years previous, not this time,
Yeah,
because you all prepared a plan now.
I understand that, right? But in our defense, firstly, let me just say to you that I don't defend everything that we did or didn't do, because we didn't get everything right. I'm a
Right.
big enough
Well, I
man.
accept
I'm a
that.
big enough man to say
Yeah,
that, right?
I accept that.
But you also don't have to accept that we had 2 years. The first year, you come to office, you made a lot of bills. Some bills we found in drawers, right?
You wouldn't know, but I can tell you this.
This is-
You're
this is why I tell
campaigning,
you-
you're
this is
campaigning
why I
on that
tell
they
you-
couldn't find any what money.
Yeah, but
Then when you all win, then you'll say, okay,
No,
we find
we
it.
have a lot of bills, right?
No,
We have a lot
you
of
only say
bills,
we don't
right?
bet, you also
We have
we
a lot
find
of
the what
bills.
money.
But we were well on the way of addressing the issue of the national debt, because Peter Turnquest made that his life's mission, so that we could bring this national debt to heed.
The first 2 years you all didn't do well.
Yeah. We were well on our way in that regard, right? And then, came September. Well, we had the hurricane first in Ragged Island, which decimated the southern Bahamas, particularly Ragged Island. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Okay. We had to go and do some things there. And then in 2019, in September, the 1st of September, we just celebrated, or we just marked the 6th anniversary, I believe it was of Dorian, which destroyed Abaco.
I went to Abaco after Dorian.
Destroyed parts of East
And I
Bahama.
don't went, boy. They should have did a documentary while.
Well, they did one. They did one.
Because like children need to see that. I mean, like
Yeah.
schools need to see it, because when you would see, right, a steel and fishing vessel parked
up in the
in
land.
the drive-through of Kentucky.
Yeah, up in the land.
I know, but
From the
the
dock.
drive-through, right,
Yeah.
in Kentucky, you deal with them, and you could see all the seaweed on top of the roof of a 2-story building.
Yeah.
Then people need to really see how, I mean, wait a second.
Okay.
That was the second.
I was in Dorian, right? Because due to my experience in the military and being able to respond to emergency and trained to do so, I thought I could go home as all my sisters, my family, my constituents were all there. It's my home. This is my home, right? And I was happy to be there because I believe we did some good. But at the end of the day, when you sit through pummeling for what seemed like a day and a half, it seemed that long, and you come outside and you see landmarks that you knew from a boy that are displaced, and you have to go and get your bearing. And then when night comes, it was difficult to differentiate between the road and where the water was. So you could very easily drive into the water, right? I'm not exaggerating at all when I tell you.
No, I saw it for myself.
Dorian had sustained winds of more than perhaps 180 miles per hour and gusted at 250 miles per hour,
Oh.
replete with tornadoes. And you could feel when the tornadoes come through the building. Thank God for the government complex built under Hewitt Ingram. Right?
I think that I know it's a waste of money.
We saved a lot of
It's
lives.
very,
Saved a lot of
it's
lives.
very useful.
At one point, people came out of the irregular communities, the mud and the pea, and not sandbanks, the other one, pigeon pea in the mud, and there was another one that they had there. In the eye of the storm, they came out of there like rain. And I instructed that this complex be open to have them come in, because it was, for me, as I told them when I walked around ahead of the storm, with Creole-speaking police and defense force personnel, that this is not about immigration, this is about saving your life.
Right.
I guess, like most of us, they thought this would just be another storm that would pass and they would be okay. But I told them this thing was coming on a king tide, which is easiest way to explain it to a fellow who's a seaman is a super spring tide. So you had waves that would come in at 19, 20 feet and move everything, all the containers from the dock, which was just north of these irregular communities, all the 20 and 40-foot containers in that boat you talked about, and wash them right over the land.
Right.
So anything in their path, you're talking about tonnage of containers,
I
and
went-
boats,
I went
anything in
there.
their path would be
I went
marched to
there.
the ground.
I went there.
It is an experience that I don't want to have
I
again.
can't believe what I saw.
Yeah, it looked like a different place. But when you go there now, you see it speaks to the resilience of Abaconians and Grand Bahamians,
You sound like you're ready to run back in Albuquerque
And the
again.
way, and the way that they know party is determined that I should run in South Beach this time. We have people who are in Albuquerque who are quite capable and confident.
But when I went down there, I told you, wow, you think of what should make, I went down there, to do some work for the Ministry of Environment.
Mhm.
I went down to take some of the garbage over, because some of the boats was bringing, like,
Supplies?
supplies
Okay.
for the people over there.
Mhm.
And the boats was catching many problem because like cables and ropes.
Oh, yeah.
When the water,
harbor's littered.
right,
Yeah.
when the water descended,
Yeah,
man, all that stuff going overboard.
okay.
So when guys was backing up in their boat, he was picking up ropes and the propellers and all kind of stuff. So my dad and my barge ran over to carry some dumpsters
Mhm.
to help move around the trash and the garbage,
Mhm.
and then clean up the harbor. I think plenty debris out of the harbor so that the boats would not have that problem. But listen,
I'm very proud of Albuquerqueans. I'm proud to be an Albuquerquean.
I mean, people
We are
start getting back to
strong,
normal and they're
resilient
working
people.
together.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
We are strong people. And you know, I'll let you take your break, but you know, a lot of people believe that government should respond to these things in a way unknown. But Dorian, we had no playbook for it.
No, 'cause it's
like
never
COVID.
happened before.
Just like COVID, we had no
Right.
playbook.
No playbook,
But as
right.
foreign minister, I approved the entry into this country of some 1,500 NGOs who came to help us at one point. But
So
then
that's-
6 months after Dorian came COVID. Nobody knew what COVID was.
Right, you didn't have
Remember,
no-
you had no vaccine, you had no cure.
Right.
And so, you know, when that hit, they all said, you know what, we gotta leave. Some stuck around a little bit with us, but the majority of them left. But they helped us tremendously.
I mean, take our first commercial break. This is Primetime with Independent Thinker, streaming live on the Great Studio 1197 and shared and hyped. Listen, my former guest, and he hasn't been back since the first time, but boy, every time he come, I have a great conversation, so you can tune in. I mean, you know, he's telling like it is, and he's honest, I guarantee you. Because if I'm reading from the last show we had, I have in the book with the 10 best guests that I ever host on my show in 14 years. This is Prime Time. After the break, continuing our conversation, my special guest, Senator Darren Henfield, in the chair tonight. Prime Time, Independent Thinker. Back live with the great show 1177. This is Primetime with Independent in the studio tonight. Senator Darren Henfield is in the chair. Whatever questions, if you have any questions, 326-8255, 326-8255, 322-3633, 322-3633. You can be a part of the conversation. Myself, Primetime with Independent Thinker, and Senator Darren Henfield. Mr. Henfield, before the break, we were talking about Abaco. I want to get your view on the state of foreign affairs today in terms of consummate politicians who seems to be, who go down history, one of the greatest foreign affairs minister. And you think that we are stable and comfortable based on our foreign relations with different countries today? I think we are.
It is a very good question that you ask, and only to be honest, you can only answer it honestly if you're inside the day-to-day workings of the foreign ministry, most of which and what we do in the foreign ministry is meant to be confidential to a certain extent, right? Because if you're negotiating with countries for a particular thing, I always looked at the foreign ministry as I try to look at it in the way that big countries look at it. You're not just there to be a part of a nation states, to go along to be a part of the club. But when people practice diplomacy, they do so with certain interest in mind for their countries. For me, it was always how will my relations with this one or that one improve the economy or the security of the Bahamian people. And so if I had cause to go on trips or for multilateral or bilateral discussions, and I asked the Foreign Service people, the Director General and her Foreign Service officers, how do we meet our objectives here? Our objectives is improvement of security, improvement of economy. And they can't say, I won't go. But the world I believe is in a place right now of change. You see China emerging as a great power. You see the
superpower.
As a great power. You see the United States struggling to hold on to that position as the greatest power. And you see new alliances. Just this week we had in China, you had Russia, North Korea.
Yeah, I see.
Maybe I'm not sure if South Africa was there.
No, I see
I'm not sure.
You had plenty of those bunks. India, I think was in there.
India was there. Narendra Modi was there. Right. So there is a realignment. There is a realignment.
And they prepared to change the world order.
They are. They are prepared to stand up and to be recognized and be counted, and to say to the Americans that there's another big boy in the schoolyard when you come out to play, right? And
they get the right president in place.
We happen to
achieve that goal.
We happen to be blessed by God to be, I believe, geographically placed in the most beautiful, not only beautiful, but best strategic position in the world, where we have been right next door, 50 miles from the world's greatest superpower to date, right? China hasn't taken them over yet, to date. And we've had a good existence because of it. But because of our proximity, because of our reliance on the United States of America for so many things, our economy, our security, they're all linked, right? Strategically, geopolitically, we have to do certain things in certain ways that will cause us to be, we are a sovereign state. There's no question about that. We have our voice and we have our vote at the United Nations. But we also know the reality is that 80% of your tourists comes from the United States of America.
Right.
Your dollar
pegs their dollar.
Pegs their dollar one for one. Well, you can't. Some will argue, economists will argue that you can't buy the same thing that you can with an American dollar in the United States as which you would get in the Bahamas. But for all intents and purposes, our dollar is one for one. 80% of the tourists that comes through here, 10 million, we've been moving at about a 10 million clip or more a year now. So we've had a good life. I used to liken it to the remora fish, you know. There's the big shark, and there's the remora fish, which we call the sucking fish, who swims alongside the remora shark, and he eats the scraps.
Yeah.
So if America is doing good, the Bahamas is doing good.
Bound to do
And
well.
so we're bound to do well. And, but now you also have now this sort of a populism that is alive and well, not only in America but in some parts of the world. And Bahamians want it too. They're like, you know, this country is ours. What is for us, right? And so you hear the chant to the north of us, "Make America Great Again," and that is the objective. All right, so we are, I believe, in a good space. I believe we have managed well, and both sides, both the FNM and the PLP. We have not done anything, either of us, to cause major or serious distress
So
upon the Bahamian people.
You can't blame that on us in the DNA.
You haven't had an opportunity yet. You haven't had an opportunity yet.
Yeah, why I asked you that question is because it appears that foreign affairs ministers don't do much. You don't hardly see them, you don't hear them make statements, but behind the scenes, like how you say, multilateral negotiations and agreements happens at the United Nations level. Because this country don't really promote international conversations often.
I think the ministry needs to talk more about what we do in foreign affairs. I think foreign affairs does a lot.
People who start appreciate.
You have your ambassador in the United States. You have your high commissioner in London. You have emissaries all over the world. We put one in Brussels when we were there because we wanted someone in place to touch the OECD and the FATF and the European Union and those countries that blacklist us, and so that they could put a face to who we are and press palms with us and readily pass across the aisle documents that they wanted us to have. You know, don't email us just before Christmas because we go on to Junkanoo then, and then in January we come back from break and we find that we have a blacklist pending. So we thought.
So has we benefited the country by you doing that?
I believe so. I believe.
Have you been on any more blacklist sets?
We have. We have along with others.
Yeah.
But we also have been able to readily remediate the instances of blacklisting. And there's something else I'd have to say about that. Governments in the Bahamas walk lockstep when it comes to the way we are treated by these entities that blacklist us. Because we all believe collectively that they continue to move the goalpost. The financial services industry is a very important industry in the Bahamas. And, you know, one of the first things you learn in law school is that the king is responsible for collecting his own taxes, right? So it is difficult for countries to put on you the onerous burden of collecting taxes for them. That's not your job. But they find ways of having to stress with their entities that are in your country. The other day we passed a minimum tax for foreign countries in the Bahamas that are earning more than, I think it was 700 million. I'm not sure now. Is it 700 million? Something like that. I'll check it. Right? You can check it, or have one of your audience check it who's listening to us. And that worked out well for us. I think we're going to gain something like 200 million a year from the taxes of those kind of corporations that are offshore here in the Bahamas. And so, you know, it's not been all very bad, but it's important for us to stay in step. It's important for us to stay compliant, and it's also important for us to even go ahead of the curve, because we have nothing. We don't want to be known as a state that launders money or hides money,
Right.
And that kind of thing.
But your history,
or finance terrorism. You know?
your history is will be exposed as clearly states that when you bring up the OECD and FTAF and those international bodies that blacklist countries, small countries like Bahamas, you know, the minute you start to talk about those countries and those groups, history will show that under the freelancers movement, former Prime Minister Right Honorable Alexander Ingram, in my humble opinion, did a disservice to the Bahamas by sending those
But
10
it's- but it's-
those 10 bulls from Washington, and disseminate, destroy the financial sector that
But
we have.
history will show you that everybody's doing what he did then. Everybody's doing it now. Right?
Say it again, 'cause I
everybody-
understand what you're saying.
But he was forced to comply.
Oh, he was forced. Well,
He was-
that's
he was
the best way
for-
you can say it.
He was forced, no, that's what happened. He was forced to comply with the burdens placed upon him by the OECD and the FATF, the same as we are today.
But he
Forced to
faxed
comply and
it
adjust-
from Washington, though. He
and
didn't fax it
adjust-
from those other
and
countries.
I don't know where he faxed it from, but
Mhm.
I mean.
But you know, they had a big,
he faxed it from-
they had a big conversation in the
Let- let-
assembly at the time,
Yeah.
where, if my mind serves me correctly, the former Minister of Social Services,
Mhm.
Ireland and SPB Ireland, and the former Attorney General or Foreign Affairs Minister, Janet Boswick,
Mhm.
when it was stated that he said that she said that yeah, we have discussed these, and Mr. Allen said no, ma'am. He was
Okay.
government leader of
Okay.
business and hours at the time.
Okay.
If my mind serves me correctly,
Mhm.
and as a result, it gave the edge to the Cayman Islands and other.
Right, but we're all in the same boat now.
You all in the boat now?
We're all in the same boat now.
Same
They
boat?
all now having to comply with the FATF, with the OECD.
But they get away for years, man.
Yeah.
We lose
I mean-
our edge, we
I mean,
lose
sometimes-
our prominence in the financial sector as a result.
Sometimes you yourself can see the disparity in the industry, and that places like Guernsey and other places in the world, the U.S., Delaware, right? They do some of the same kind of banking that we are forced to discontinue, right? But imagine this: correspondent banking allows you in a tourism-driven economy for someone to come with their credit card and go down to the fish fry and pay for a snapper or crack conch or conch salad or a lick or a sans, right? And imagine if you're threatened that they're going to remove your ability to do correspondent banking. What will happen to your economy? So, you know, in order for you to stay current, to stay in the grand scheme of things and the economies of the world, you have to find a way to adjust your laws. And so periodically, I've been in the same term now, I lead opposition business in the Senate, right? In the same term, I think we've discussed these kinds of bills at least 3 or 4 times in the last 4 years. In the last 4 years. So they continue to move the goalposts. We continue to try and adjust to maintain our standard, to maintain our integrity, to maintain our ability to participate in the international economy.
Under the one of those bodies, one of the laws has stated that you're unable to double tax.
Mhm.
Why is it so hard for us to go to income tax? Is it because the amount of money politicians make, they make can't give it a comfort? I mean, why is it?
Explain to me when you said the
Because-
amount of money politicians make. Explain it to me.
I said that as a joke.
Yeah, oh.
But why is it so hard for income tax? This is a country where it has a very high percentage of extremely rich persons.
Mhm.
And poor people, because maybe we want to say, because they poor, that's why they want income tax.
I
Because
think-
the more you make, the more you pay.
I think it's politically difficult for any government to introduce income tax in the Bahamas.
Right.
And you're gonna go and tax.
But they implement the what?
Yeah.
What is it? It's a consumer tax.
Yeah.
What is burdensome on poor people?
I'm speaking to you very honestly. I think.
Yeah, I know, I think you're right, yeah.
it's very
I'm Susan.
difficult. It's very difficult, but you know, at some point in the future, we're going to have to look at it very seriously, because we go to the United States of America. We look at their road. They pay what 35% or more of their income in taxes, income tax. Canada is even higher. Canada is in the region of almost 50, if I recall the last time I checked, right? And then with income tax, you pay on the basis of your income. So you're not like the rich man and the poor man who goes to the food store and pay the same, what is it now, 5% on a crate of eggs, right? Or less. You know, you pay the same thing, even though he's filthy rich and you're just barely getting by. So income tax, in your argument, in your rationale, income tax more levels the playing field.
You wouldn't say
but
so?
It does. It levels the playing.
That's why I say, why it's
field.
so hard for them
And
to do that? Why it's so hard for successive government to institute income tax? They could slowly do like how they do VAT. You know. VAT right now is reeling in billions of dollars.
That is one of those things that we have to look at the National Development Plan and say, all political parties, if you're interested in politics in the Bahamas, how do we address this business of income tax?
I love that. I must tell you, I love that approach. I love that approach where,
because it has to be
where you
elected,
move politics and you
remove
just
the
try
politics.
to get the brilliant minds of this country,
You-
the best minds,
Yeah.
to get a solution
You
that
go to-
generations can benefit the
You
country.
go to the United States and you say to me, I love the roads, the highways, and all of the public offerings that they have for the public. And you come home and you say, why can't we keep up? Well, they pay a great deal of their own income.
But we don't pay 30%, but we paying,
to keep up that
you
kind
paying
of,
what,
to keep
10%?
up that kind of infrastructural development. Then you pass a ferry or you pass across a certain toll. I mean, the Sun Pass collects your money automatically.
No, but they taxing they taxing foreigners to that.
Yeah.
Because you go to the States tomorrow
Mhm.
and you still getting told next 3-4 weeks they still send you toll.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And what they did, and by you bringing it up, I mean, of course, but I must say this. Someone need, so a foreign affairs officer can help you with that then. Because mainly what they're doing with the rental cars, you pay, they don't allow you to buy the toll ahead of time. So that you don't have to pay for the rental car company to file your toll. What they're doing is,
Send you a bill
they're
later.
using the administration of paying the toll to the government as an administration fee. Your toll is 50 cents, but you're paying $11. So the car rental company for each toll charging you for each single toll. They charge you an administration fee. I don't even know what you
They're
say.
making additional money. They're making additional monies off of you.
Yeah, it's a business now, and it appears that they maybe collect insurance, but they get paid staff from that.
Oh,
Yeah, because you go to say for 12 hours. You go on the first flight, come back on the last flight. And you could be getting tolls for about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, they give you tolls. They give you a separate one, and they give you a bill for the separate. But the thing is telling you, the sign is telling you by the toll what you go under is 25 cents, or 55 cents, or $1.25. But you get a toll for $16 for one toll.
it's crazy.
I remember nobody, I watch myself, it's come to your phone, to your email. Right there, every time that's why that's why. And I realized what they did, they stopped collecting cash from you. Because they want your card, so they keep on billing your card when you don't leave.
Yeah.
I tell you that's what they're doing.
Yeah. You leave your footprint. You leave your card print.
Yeah, you leave and they continuously billing you, and it appears that and you can't do nothing about it, so the car companies are charging you way more, not even double it, because if the toll is $1.50, double will be $3. If you got a bill for $16 for a toll, that means that ain't double. You know what I'm saying? And so foreign affairs designed to assist and things like that.
No. You see, but that is a private transaction.
No, I'm talking about for the government. I don't want to go to dollar or I'm talking about go to the government citizen.
No.
The citizen of the Bahamas who.
No, it is a private transaction between yourself and the car company, right?
No, but you ain't never agree to pay the car company to administer the toll.
So then you take.
But they charging you that.
So you got to take that up with the car company. You know, as
You gotta take it up with the car company.
Minister for
By
Affairs,
yourself?
right? I used to have this issue always with visas, right? And I went to great pains to explain to people, Bahamians, that the right for a visa is a proprietary right that exists in the country that is giving the visa.
Right.
So if the United States, if America says to you, no, we're not going to give you a visa, you don't qualify by our standards to enter our country.
You go around.
And so, but I had this issue that I shared with my counterparts in the United States, secretaries of state. At one point Blinken, at the other point, it was Mike Pompeo, right? And at higher levels, this was shared between the Prime Minister and the President. You have young people who go to college in America. Perhaps they got a ticket, right? They come home, never get in trouble since. develop businesses, have families, respectable Bahamians living in the country, and can't get a visa. And we think that's unfair.
But then you do, because they don't have to allow no one in the
We
country.
believe, yeah, exactly. So that's my point, right? So it is a proprietary right of the United States of America, who they determine is qualified to enter. And you go to great pains to explain. I had a minister even today, not today per se today, but even in this particular iteration of governance, trying to explain to people that this is something that is in the hands of the United States of America.
And they're changing,
It's
they're
nothing
changing
government
many
powers
things.
to do about that.
Right. And they're changing the stand, they're moving the goalposts and changing the stand at the same time, because I heard there was a evening on the this evening where they're saying that foreigners won't be able after November 1st to come to the Bahamas embassy to apply for visa. You have to apply in your country where you're from.
Right.
That's never, because some places who I know set up business benefiting from foreigners coming here to apply for visa.
Particularly
They
those
stay in their
people in
Airbnb and stuff.
Turks and Caicos Islanders probably came.
All over the Caribbean.
Now I saw something in the papers today, which suggests, I saw it somewhere, which says that, but on the news somewhere I saw it, that Haitians would also be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I tell you, they say, wherever country you're from, you want a visa, you have to apply in that country.
But this embassy in Nassau now has been designated, according to the reports that I saw, for Haitians to come and apply to do their visa here.
Well, they contradicted themselves.
Yeah, you know,
And one report
I mean, the embassy in the United States is probably not functioning as.
Oh, in Haiti.
In Haiti, I'm sorry.
Right, okay,
U.S.
so-
embassy is probably.
That's a
not
dangerous thing
functioning.
with Bahamas.
Yeah, but you know,
That's very dangerous
but
thing about
we still hold the right. We have the proprietary right, as they do, to vet who we allow entry into the Bahamas.
To get American visa.
Yeah, we can do that. We control
It's
that.
very dangerous.
We control.
Why I said it, because you now becoming a stop shop for the embassy for places.
It needs to be
who come to
explained.
the Bahamas is a country where places who come here hardly won't go.
Yeah, it needs to be talked
Go
about
back.
a little bit more so that people can understand. But why you can come here and no one go back?
Oh.
If you are here for a stay for 6 months, right? And we stamp your entry, your card for 6 months. We should have some kind of a technology by now that rings off and say, look here, Brother Johnson, 6 months up to date, he needs to go. And we need to find out why you ain't going yet. So how is it you can come here and overstay? You can't. In other countries you go and overstay, they find you and they send you home, and you're not allowed into that country again. Why are we different?
I think immigration, and I think they're doing a reasonable job. Immigration.
Oh, they gotta do far better. They
Huh?
gotta do far better. We can probably talk about it on the other side of your break.
Okay, I think I'll find a commercial break. This is Primetime with Independent Thinker. My name is Marlon Owen Johnson, aka Independent Thinker, in the chair tonight. Senator Darren Henfield, a former guest on this show. And we had a good conversation then, and we have a good conversation now. If you want to be a part of just listening and you enjoy the conversation, I see why you ain't calling, but you could be asking, put some questions to him. He's very knowledgeable, very educated, exceptionally great at answering questions. So don't be scared. But one of the hard question them. Don't just depend on what I ask. We take a final conversation break with engineer, and we come back, continue and wrap our conversation. My special guest, Senator Darren Henfield, is in the chair tonight, live on Primetime, Independent Thinker. We're back live with the Great 1197. During the break, I was speaking with the producer, Ms. Jones, and she's saying that I may be going to the wrong lane, and that's why I'm coming to me. So I need to read the sign. So it is as bad as I thought, based on what the bill comes to me. But boy, listen, them told new stuff coming, and she gave a short answer. I'm trying to get it to express it on the mic. She gave a short answer that I may be reading again the wrong lane, so I'll be careful. I'll be careful to try stay in my lane. Because man, them told them more than the ticket. I tell them more than your airplane ticket, man. Every day, every time, every so often you see another toll pass. You don't being away from a month ago, man, they sending you toll pass ticket. And I need to go right between Miami, West Palm, not even West Palm, Miami to Pompano Beach, by them generate a place for passing. So I travel in all through the United States in 12 hours. You know, so I don't understand. I just felt that I thought that foreign affairs was being the first person or the best person would happen. I must give you one more question before we move on for that. I had a friend, a former union leader, Busu, right? It's the Youth Limos, right? He purchased a vehicle in Japan, I think Japan, from a company with his whatever office here, right? Be forwarding. And he was on my show, and he trying to get his money back because the vehicle never came. Do foreign affairs have the power to speak with the foreign affairs in Japan and assist a citizen?
We have a representative from Japan, a honorary consul, I think it is, from Japan, and these things should be discussed with them. But like I keep saying to you, right, there's something in law called privity. Privity is this thing between the individuals involved in an arrangement. So you don't just go injecting yourself in there. But if you as a citizen of the Bahamas ask for the assistance of foreign affairs through the consular office here from Japan, that will be looked at.
That's what I'm saying. Because I keep on telling them.
Yeah, but I don't want to put it out there.
No,
I don't want to put it out there like foreign affairs is responsible for this.
No, you're not responsible.
Right?
But by you being a foreign affairs department, I think that issues like that should be easy for them to solve, because the country, your liaison with the next foreign affairs department from that country.
If you have an issue like that, then you go to the Consul General office in Miami. This is Florida, where you normally are with these things, right? And you report that, and then they will make Bahamians aware that this is an issue. That if they find it to be something credible, or there's veracity in what you're saying. But according to Ms. Jones, you're misreading some signs, right? So if there's something that is recurring, that is offensive to Bahamians, that should be reported to the Consul General's office.
Because I mean, he tried but they have an office here. The company be forwarding, who's bringing vehicles from Japan, have an office here, and it's like he can't get a balance money back because the truck never came. And I had him on the show, right? And we talked about it. And I may be wrong, but I always thought that foreign affairs is the best and most competent ministry to assist, because you will have all right. When the government allow and accept the credentials from a consul general from Japan. Foreign affairs have to be there. Foreign affairs have to be involved. You should know them. You should have their numbers. You should have conversations with them from time to time, right? So it shouldn't be hard for them to go.
I know who it is, and so after the show, I'll give you a contact.
All right.
He's a outstanding Bahamian gentleman.
You know what he did?
Well known.
And I'll tell you this. I'll end with this. And I'll tell you this. He get portion of his money back, right? Because the money was transferred to Wyatt from a noted, one of the most notarized bank in this country. Send the money to I think Morgan Stanley or whatever in New York. And then they could show you where the money was paid to Japan. And so it's so much hassle for him to get all his balance is money, and you know, I think he must give up on all. But I always thought that something like that, foreign affairs would be the most reliable, competent ministry or section or department to help him do that. The little politics is run out of time. The elections coming up. You running?
I'm the ratified candidate for South Beach.
You ratified candidate. So, give in a nutshell the state of affairs of the Free National Movement. Said, are you all firing on all cylinders? Everything is good.
You know, we get this question often, right? The Free National Movement is a strong, vibrant organization, right? In families, there are sometimes friction.
Yeah.
But we are together, we are strong, we are firmly behind the leadership of Michael Pintard. We are ratifying candidates that we believe are capable, ready, and willing to take the Bahamas to the level where we believe it can be as a country. And so we are in a solid state, we are in a good state. We've elected Michael Pintard to lead the Free National Movement twice in convention. And we believe in 2026, or whenever the bell rings, the Bahamian people will elect him to lead the country as their prime minister. We believe that.
Based on the description that you gave just now, perfect. And I don't think that one should be afraid of anything about the results that will come.
No.
Right? Now, as a result of by me asking you a question, I trying to find out, I trying to feel your way into the way of the, apparently in the public they treating Dr. Menace. Do you think they treat him fairly?
Yes. I feel that we went through the processes for the ratification and nomination, or however you want to put it, the selection of candidates.
I know F&M now, so don't think I join
No,
again.
it is a fair question. I always answer this question this way. You know, I love Dr. Menace. I thought he was a good prime minister. I thought he faced some very challenging times. I refer to them sometimes as Churchillian. Only Churchill in the Commonwealth faced the kind of tests and trials and challenges that Menace faced with his cabinet for the 4 years that he'd been in office, right? But the country moved on. The country moved on.
No, the F&M moved on.
And the party moved on, and the Free National Movement moved on, right? And that is where we are.
No, but I mean, you can't just move on from the man still have a zeal and the energy to be a member of parliament, and him being a former prime minister should have some kind of stature in the Free National Movement, because he lost once. We just get rid of him. The former prime minister, Hubert Alexander Ingham, lost in 2002. He lost in 2012, right? What it means that the FM didn't run him out of the party soon as he lost.
No, he
So why are you running Dr. Menace?
When he lost, he resigned.
No. He lost 2002, he didn't resign.
Yeah, he did.
He resigned 2002?
Did he not? He resigned. He resigned, and then I think Tommy Turnquest became leader of the party.
That happened. No, sir.
My dates may be off.
No.
But he resigned after the loss.
Sorry about going back in 2007.
He was elected by the convention. He was
Why
elected.
did
Tommy was the leader, but he was elected by the convention, nominated and elected by the convention to lead the party again.
Oh, so he resigned.
Yeah. After he lost, he resigned. He resigned after he lost.
I have a different perspective on that. I think he stepped aside to don't be a distraction to his former law partner.
The party is bigger than any one individual.
But man, they can't treat the man like that.
The Free National Movement is a big machine, bigger than any one individual, and a collective.
And you're 100% correct with that. But
people who are determined to do all that we can to put the party in a position, as the Constitution requires that we be, a government in waiting.
Right.
And so we don't have time for schisms and small talk and chatter back and forth. We got to ready ourselves to govern. That is what we're doing now.
Yeah, the opposition is a
That
is
is
a
what,
common
that is what we're doing now.
But listen to what I'm saying to you.
Yeah.
Dr. Minnis will go down history of giving plenty persons, first timers in 2017 an opportunity to be a part of the governance of their country.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
And to see how they just turn their back on him, right?
No, nobody turned their back on Dr. Minister. We elected a new leader. How do you consider that turning your back on someone if you elected a
But
new
he
leader?
just lost in 2020. And everybody just,
The
like
Bahamian-
he's a villain.
The Bahamian people rejected us in 2021. They rejected all of us, right? Our party was decimated. We were left, out of all the seats that we had, we were left with what, 7?
No,
Right.
I mean, that was generous.
We were
I was left with 1.
Yeah, but see,
Or 2.
that's my point.
Right.
And why do you come to that conclusion?
Because I'm the decisions that you all made.
You
And
can-
the Prime Minister isn't the one who made the decision. So he's taking the brunt of the decision by himself.
No.
You all know the cabinet?
No, and this system that we're in Westminster, right? The leader goes down with the ship. That is the way it is.
No, you're trouble, what?
No. The convention determined that Michael Pintar would lead the party, right? And that's what we're doing. We're readying ourselves to govern. That's what we're doing right now.
Listen,
And
I
we
must
wish
say this to
Dr.
you,
Minnis
right?
the best.
I must say this to you.
Yeah.
You all don't have no one who's orchestrating any kind of control over there for them. No one, you could say, that you are aware of.
No, not that I'm aware of.
And I say that because
No,
let me finish.
I know you'd be a plain speaking man. Ask your truth, man.
I answer my truth.
Speak your question. Ask your question.
Because I look at some of the candidates that you all bring back, right?
Uh-huh.
And it appears a PLP is picking them. Right?
Really?
Yeah.
Who?
I know this. I try to ask you, but you might know more than me.
Candidates that we brought back was people like myself, former
No, I know,
former
man.
cabinet
You was good
ministers,
fella, man. Yeah.
former cabinet ministers like myself, Marvin Dames,
Oh.
Elsewhere Johnson, well, Crazy won his seat. Crazy
Yeah,
was,
Crazy
was,
won his
was,
seat, yeah.
he was there. Michael won his seat. He was in the cabinet as well. We believe that we have a good mixture of experience and fresh new candidates that will put us in a position to govern.
Let me ask you this: is Peter Thurquest running in the next election?
Not to my knowledge. No.
Not yet,
No.
This boy, many positions, like some of the candidates are bringing back, but it ain't give no, like when you start up, when you bring a new fresh breeze to a political organization, it's give them a boost when they present a new hope to society or to a country.
That brings me to a point that I want to make with you. I watched last night the returns from Jamaica. Andrew Holness and the JLP, right? They won a 3rd consecutive term. But the voter turnout was under 40%.
Why is that?
It is a phenomenon that is going on, and it happened in the Bahamas in perhaps the last 2 elections, right? Where the voter turnout, I think in 2017 it may have been higher, but in the last election we had here, the voter turnout was just about maybe 30-something%. And I believe people, not only in the Bahamas, but all over the world, in the region as well, I believe people are fed up with politics and politicians, right?
Well, that's a good thing you say.
No, it's the truth. I campaign in South Beach, and it gives me great angst sometimes when I hear young people in particular say, I'm not voting. And you have to reason with them and listen if they care to tell you and share with you why. We make a lot of promises that we don't keep. Things happen. You have to change course sometimes, as it did with Dorian and COVID. But we make a lot of promises. We make promises that we simply cannot keep.
Yeah,
in many instances,
Well,
just to get the win.
No, but I'll tell you this.
And then people become so disenchanted when they give you an opportunity to do it, and you're unable to do it.
Not only on there, from election night they change their number. You can't reach them. They used to call you before they win, and after they win, they don't call you.
I hear stories like that. My number.
No, your number.
is the same.
No, see, you could fit a different kind of fish.
From the time before I entered politics, my number.
It's still the same thing.
It's the same.
I tell you this, right?
It's the same. You know, and so
I think the Bahamas. Go ahead.
So we have to find a way, right, to make people, voters, and Bahamians I'm talking about in particular now, to believe that this is their country, that they need to participate, and that they are a part of what you're trying to do in policies and in politics.
Yeah, but they don't want that.
They have to be a part of it.
Successive governments don't want. You're not only being acting for local government in Nassau.
You know what puzzles me sometimes, and I've seen it in my former career in the defense force and elsewhere, right? You get the big chair, we call it the big chair, right? You're the boss. And all of a sudden, you know all things. You don't need to ask nobody nothing. You know all the answers for everything, right? We don't believe in that in this new iteration of the Free National Movement. We believe
on this one, on this group now.
Michael Pentard's group.
Oh,
we believe
they wouldn't change it.
We believe that we need to come back to you and get your take on certain things that we need to do in your interest.
Well, that's a good approach.
If this is what you want done. Now, I can be honest with you. Some decisions you have to make as a government, as leaders. You just really don't have time to be able to come back and go through all of the processes of hearing.
And that is true. That's true.
There are many things that you need to come back to the Bahamian people and say, I need your input on this.
Okay, let me drive you down this road.
Okay.
Right? One of the biggest problems in this country is crime.
Mm-hmm.
Right? One of the most vexing period problem that is so hard for politicians to make decisions in terms of hanging, capital punishment, corporal punishment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's no outcry, there's no anger from politicians who have the power to change it. I say this to you. A 5-year-old child can get raped and the court sentenced them for 5 years. And members of parliament, senators are not demanding that something be done. They're not protesting, they're not walking with placards, they're not saying, listen, we have to stop
you could
prioritize some things.
You could Google right now, Brother Johnson, and find, I'm sure, somewhere in some of our local papers, where Henfield said that the sentence given to someone who had done something to a child was not sufficient. So the Attorney General's office now is and for good reason, doing a lot of plea deals, plea arrangements, right? So you did it, you plead guilty, and you get lesser time. I believe, personally, this is my personal view, and by the way, I believe in capital punishment. It's on the books. I believe if you take a life, your life should be taken. I don't believe you should just, especially if we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you did this, right? I've even advocated to a certain extent, and I need to qualify it in law, because I've not done so yet, that we should remove the ability of the Privy Council to say we can't carry out a capital punishment.
The government that you are, not that particular government that you participated.
Yeah.
But F&M government is a government would agreed to the CCJ.
A lot of people don't.
The Caribbean Court of Justice be paying the Caribbean Court of Justice. I mean, even though you use them.
Yeah, we did that, but I can tell you as a lawyer, I can tell you as a student of the law, that the Caribbean Court of Justice and the Privy Council are lockstep when it comes to capital punishment. There's no difference between them. They will come down on a different side in the rulings somehow, but they will always end up at the same place. You could go and read Pratt and Morgan.
No, Pratt and Morgan is one of the most
and see that, right? But I believe if capital punishment is on the books, it should be carried out until we remove it from the books. So I also believe that people who bought it with children, I have 2 granddaughters, one is 11, and the other one is 1 and some. That's something I can't tolerate. You bought it with children, I don't feel you should see the daylight again. All right, that's just that's Darren's personal views. I'm not speaking for the F&M when I say that. These are my personal views.
So, but I mean, with a mindset like that, I myself tell you now, I declare myself. me and you can think the same way. I think the same way in terms of capital punishment, corporal punishment, and when these grown man and about the children. I tell you, me and you think the same way. But I say this to you. Under the Free National Movement, when they were the government, the Privy Council tied a yarn with the Maxie Tito case, where the young lady, she was 16, I think it's about, and she was raped, gang raped. She was, that stick, pick up on her, they rolled over with a truck, all kind of things there. And the Privy Council,
So it's not the worst of the worst.
the Privy Council
I
tied
remember the case.
the cabinet on for them to define
The worst of the worst.
what is the worst of the worst. Me, a student, or a humble constituent of Angliston, I believe the worst of the worst is when a person died. That's me. Now, I ain't smart to call them lawyers in the assembly at the time who was in the F&M cabinet.
I don't know.
But I feel,
I don't know anything but a Johnson that could have been worse than what happened to that young lady.
right,
I don't
so,
know anything that could have been worse.
but the F&M define the worst of the worst is when a politician get killed,
Yeah,
when an officer get killed,
I don't know. I don't know what was militating in their minds.
when a nun get killed, when a priest get killed.
Yeah.
But how ordinary citizen
But
in the grove,
But you say the F&M, right?
but who's the cabinet at the time?
Yeah, but there have been governments since that cabinet.
Right.
But what has changed since then?
Well, nothing has
That
changed,
relates to the worst. Of
but
the
they
worst.
had the ball in their court at the time to deal with it.
So all governments are responsible. All
I'm not
governments
saying
are,
they're the only
all
ones
governments are
responsible. I
equally,
know they're responsible.
all governments
That-
are equally responsible.
I'm
for
saying
we have
you-
to find
listen.
the solution. We have to find the answers to stop this thing of wanton killing in our streets. I mean, just last night or yesterday, we had 2 young men killed again.
Right.
We're
Their home invasion of
we're losing too many black young Bahamian men to gun violence. And there are issues that we need to address beyond the operations that the police will do.
But how is it,
And
right?
other things that will happen.
How is it, why is it so hard? Like, sorry, you had experience in cabinet. Are you allowed to express honest, trustworthy opinion, reasonable opinions like that in cabinet?
In the cabinet?
What make decisions to govern the people of this country?
Man, in the cabinet, we just come to near blows sometimes, expressing our views. The cabinet is a place where you have vigorous debates, right? Where you lay down your conviction and you say, this is my view. But the cabinet is a collective.
Right, but then
This is a democracy.
But right,
And so at the end of the day, then the cabinet determines that this is the position that you will go in. You either go in that position,
And you have a conviction,
or you find it so hard against your conscience, or you're convicted so strongly otherwise, you step away from the cabinet.
the last hanging out in this country in 2000,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He hasn't had a hanging in this country since 2000. And if you were to check the statistics, the last 25 years, we shot about 2,500 people die.
I checked the statistics.
Or 2,000
I looked at the stats after that hanging, and if I'm not mistaken, if I recall correctly what I saw, the murder rate went down
For a period.
for a period.
Right. And it
But
usually do. History has shown that.
Yeah.
That the murder rate
Yeah.
drops when it happens.
But people will tell you capital punishment is not a deterrence.
It's never meant, capital punishment is never meant to be deterrent.
No.
Capital punishment is a guarantee that that particular person who is convicted for a crime that they committed ain't gonna kill no more. Because capital punishment never made to be a deterrent. Nothing. Jail time don't make it be deterrent. How much time people go to jail for other offenses and come back out and commit the same offense? The reason is to fuck the prison lady said.
It's not meant to be a deterrence. I agree with you. It's meant to be a punishment.
A punishment
That's what
and
it
a
is.
guarantee.
Well,
Because if you convicted of murder,
Yeah.
and the capital punishment is your sentence, and the capital punishment is carried out,
Uh-huh.
it's a guarantee that you ain't get no more.
Yeah.
If you get hanged for killing someone,
There's
how can you come back and kill somebody else?
In all honesty, there's also this argument sometimes, though, that you may have the wrong person.
Well, that's
Right.
listen.
There is that argument.
Boy, listen.
There is that argument.
I hear
right?
you, but today's ability with technology and advanced technologies and DNA and
the other day,
so we just say everybody just get killed and everyone with the one person.
The other day I called for capital punishment in the Senate, and I was called by Barack.
You call barbaric and say, because these persons who, they call you barbaric because persons who went away to school, majority of them, they begin to adopt the feeling and mindset of these foreign white people, right? And they forces their privilege, opportunities, and whatever political clout they have to those who have the ability to change things and cause things to be changed. Why would you, okay, you were saying, what you in the wrong place, but you just let everybody just get killed?
That's a part of the argument.
Something gotta happen, man. I mean, somebody doing the killing.
Yeah. And by the way, Michael Pintard was asked that question in the last press conferences we had on crime, and he says he supports the law on the book. The law is on the book.
Right.
He says that he will enforce the law
on
the book.
I'll tell you this, right? Maybe we have 5 minutes before time, I'll tell you this. By him saying that, it's very good, right? But then he had to come and say, he had to come pathetically and say this. That's what I suggest you should say. Listen, it's on the book. But there are some things that prevent, or there's obstacles that preventing this happening. We are all aware, if he's a leader and he's doing research and he's being advised by lawyers and stuff like that, he should now have the understanding that a Privy Council is one of the greatest obstacles to capital punishment, corporal punishment. So his statement should be, as leader of a political organization that might become the government in the next election, his statement should lead that, hey, if it's on the books and there are obstacles, we will have that change, and this is how we change it. Show where you did research, show where you prepared, show where you're serious, that this was going to happen. If I win the government, I become the prime minister, on day one, there will be the steps put in place for people who killing, people who traffic in guns, who this. You gotta come. No, but it's on the book. No, listen, it's on the book long time. You was part of government when you was a cabinet minister, and you never mentioned about killing. You never mentioned about hanging. You never mentioned about capital punishment. So don't come half-stepping with the book, because then people get trapped. 5 years ago, and nothing happened, and then the only thing we can punish you by is holding you up.
Critical, we will follow the laws that are on the books. That's what we will do. We will follow the laws.
What are the laws on the book?
The law on the book is capital punishment for murder.
Right.
For capital murder is capital punishment.
Let me tell you,
you take a life, your life should be taken.
Let me tell you
that's the law.
My only suggestion, I don't offer, if I don't support the FNM, I won't FNM, I won't be any. I won't be any. Right? But let me tell you.
Your party don't just.
No, we won the next election. We won this election.
Still exists.
Yeah.
You came out of the FNM. Come back for this one.
I voted FNM in 97.
Come back for this one. Right?
I voted for 97. In 97 I voted FNM.
Yeah.
2002 I voted PLP. 2007 I voted PLP.
Yeah.
And 2012 I voted DNA. 2017 I voted DNA. 2020 when you called that snap election, I realized that y'all was sure what you was doing. But I'll tell you this. Huh? No?
No. I laugh.
Listen, before you go, I must ask you this question. You seem very knowledgeable about the Darren. Did the NGOs give $2 billion for you?
No. We had a sort of a gifting conference where a lot of pledges were made.
Right.
Some of the pledges was made in monies, some was made in kind for work. Or they would do this or they would do that.
Okay.
But no $2 billion to my knowledge as foreign minister was ever given in any one place.
So if you sure $2 billion wasn't given, you should have an idea how much was given.
I don't know how much was given. I can't even quantify because people did so much work in Abaco and Grand Bahama NGOs, right? It is difficult to quantify. The Americans alone, in the first couple of days, had spent over $40 million with Medivac and that kind of thing.
Yeah, but I mean, the FNM pronounced that some $2 billion was...
That was a silly thing to do because it should have been explained by us that these are pledges. You know how much time people come on pledging conferences and they call the show or whatever, and in that instance they were there making pledges and they never materialize.
Right. So you should come back to me.
And you know what? When I hear that,
$2 billion was pledged, but we only received $1.9 billion.
Then it should have been explained properly, right? But when I hear that, especially by people who are in the government, right? Like I hear nonsense about drones and that kind of thing.
No, the drone was in no pledge.
Ministers
drone
don't-
was the taxpayers' money.
Let me tie this in here. Ministers don't spend money.
Oh!
The permanent secretaries are responsible for the finances of the ministry.
Yeah, but then
You-
they take instructions from the
When it's
minister.
time for a contract to be drawn down for certain amounts to be paid, that is approved by the permanent secretary and the financial secretary. Right?
Just lying on one of the ministers in there for them.
Yeah,
He said,
lies they tell on my brother Marvin.
No, I said Marvin. No, I said Marvin. No,
I say that.
go be the one
I
for
say
something.
that because they're using drones now. They're using shot
So
spotters.
maybe you did get the drone.
Shot spotters now. They didn't get all of them because the contract was not completed. Then by the time
And you all send money? So how we send money in the game?
we paid for what we got. But the contract is a contract. You get what you pay for. Portions of it.
Well, that little tricky I need to bring you back.
No, but you could just
That little tricky, man.
no, but you could just go to the Ministry of National Security and ask them, You
And
can
they-
just ask them to show you the file.
Okay.
Tell them stop talking nonsense. Come on to show you what we paid for and what we
No,
got.
Bahamas doesn't. I see. I believe
Money's-
you on.
government money's-
Y'all is the last. When the
government
PLP come
money's-
on the power, whenever the
government
PLP
money's
come
have
on,
not dispensed in
this
that
last for
fashion.
the next 5 years,
The hardest
I will
thing
blame
for
the
you to do,
PLP. I
Johnson.
can blame you all for
Johnson.
not doing the freedom, not implementing the Freedom of Information Act.
But how you-
I should have been able
Are
to
you
go
gonna blame
online
us? Are you
and
gonna blame us
see.
for that you had a government in power now for the last 4 years?
No, I gotta blame you all.
And you
No,
can blame
they
us.
still about. They can still do it.
And you can blame us.
They can still do it. You're flat all the time. They
You
wasting
can
their hand.
blame me off.
Well, they're clipping.
You blaming us for that. You blaming us for that. And you got a government in
I-
power for the past 4 years.
No,
And-
they
and-
still in power. They still can do it.
And we put the commission in place. You know how much
You put a
money?
question on not even a computer.
You know how much money?
Hold
You know
on,
how much
hold
money
on,
this?
hold on.
You know how much
He
money
don't have a
this
computer on
give?
his desk.
You know how much money this give?
You know he have a computer on his desk, right?
They don't give the commissioner no money.
The commissioner who's in charge of the freedom of information, he don't have a computer on his
Man,
desk.
look up what they say with these
Yeah,
things.
what I say just now? Let me take a break.
Ain't gonna
Hey,
start it.
take a break. We gotta end the show.
We-
Grab up, give me 5 away.
Oh, we still on there?
Yeah, we
Oh, I
like.
didn't know we still on there.
Go ahead, you like. Go ahead.
But
Wrap up.
it is a pleasure to have been here with you tonight,
Yes, sir.
and to end with such a spirited debate.
Yeah.
But I want to leave by asking the Bahamian people to consider the Free National Movement as the alternative to this government that you cannot re-elect. This is a government that has not earned a mandate to be re-elected.
I must remind you one thing before I must remind you. Y'all that the government will go down in history as a
Yeah.
lockdown government.
Yeah, but
people that hate people.
but let me say this to you. The world is locked down.
The
The world is locked down.
I
Right?
was trying to rock
And
it tonight.
you had young people going out having fetes and fun and coming home and killing their grandparents with COVID. What were we to do?
No.
We didn't have any cures. We didn't have any vaccines, right? And so I want the Bahamian people to consider the kind of Bahamas that you would like to have. I want to leave a Bahamas that my grandchildren could be proud of. That is why I've been a public servant all of my life. I had opportunities to go and work in private sectors and stuff like that, but I didn't. I chose to serve my country, firstly in the military, and secondly now in this arena of politics, because I believe that we could do better. And Michael Pintard, under his leadership, under the new Free National Movement, will move the Bahamas to where we believe it should go.
We flat all the time, and I gotta send you a bill for the advertisement. This is Primetime Independent Nigga. I have my special guest tonight was former guest who sat on my show last about a year ago. The President Senator, former Cabinet Minister and Free National Movement under the COVID and Doreen government. He's in the chair and he did well. He did well again, as usual. And next week, my next guest is Travis Robertson, a former member of Parliament and a president candidate, I think so, in this next upcoming election. For Charlotte. So I'm going to end with a quote from the Great Lakes and Linden Archipelago. If Bahamians aren't prepared to stand up and fight and defend their own Bahamas, then they don't deserve to have it. Good night, Bahamas.